Good evening, fellow Liberians. It's good to be back here on Earth. Yesterday we thought to give chance to air the program East Station 13. You know, East Station 13 is one of the regular programs we have for you. So we are back here to conclude the weekend. In the process of concluding the weekend, there are lots of topics that we will be taking at or making a look at those important topics. One of the most important topics has got to do with the call for the establishment of the War and Economic Crime Code. It has said something to be one of the greatest arguments in the country. Traditional Liberian music. You know our vernacular is so sweet. For those of you who are watching the live video, can share the live video. Share the video. We are all partners in progress. By sharing the video, we will be committed to bringing you the program. Okay, welcome back again. Welcome back to the program. Good evening, Liberia. The most informative talk show in the country, one of the most informative talk shows in the country. We do not base our argument on sentiment. We do not speak to allegations. We speak to the facts. So my name is Kevin. I'm joined by thanks to all of you who are currently watching this program. What you can do is to share the live video as we dive into the trending issues in our country, Liberia. So the days of President Joseph Human Boakas is actually moving by the day. Um, Initially, when the government was inducted into office on January 22nd, 2024, there were lots of concern from other people, the level of amazing that people have about this government. The government is actually making a lot of impacts in terms of its foundations. One of the most important thing here is the fact that in the process of forming a government, you have to be very strategic. You have to be you have to be very careful with the kind of players you put on the team. So when you want to succeed as a government, you need to be very careful the kind of players you put on the team. So the United Party government is actually is still in the process of forming their government. So one of the things initially when President Joseph Jomo started to make the appointment, other people said that the president was moving too slowly. Uh, the president was moving too slowly. About what I want to believe is that the president was trying to receive proposals and recommendations from other parties who collaborated with the Democratic Party during the time meaning of the elections. You have the segment of the All Liberian Party came at die meaning during the course of the run-up elections. You have the tier one gun faction. You have the grassroots development movement. So as we speak, the president is actually in the middle of making some of those he is actually receiving dossiers of recommendations from the angle of all of those aligned political parties that came during the beginning of the process. So you see the likes of Sarah Best Yanti, she came during the beginning of the process, and President she based upon the length of time she stayed, she got appointed as the minister she got appointed as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Foreign Affairs, even though there were several other problems surrounding the appointment regarding the issues of a credential, yet and still, the Senate came up with a resolution to confirm Sarah Beslu Yanti. So Sarah Beslu Yanti has since been inducted into office as the Foreign Affairs Minister of the Republic of Liberia. And other people, I think the argument about the president's making the appointment very slow has been laid to rest because there was this particular appointment, that set of appointment that the president made. I think the president appointed close to 80 persons or even above. So it has laid to rest that the president was actually moving. So it has come to it has also gone to the Senate. The Senate, over the period of time, they have since been proceeding very, very slowly. They have since been proceeding very, very slowly regarding the issues about confirming those individuals. I am not saying that because other people will say that the Senate is proceeding very slowly, it means that the Senate should not do the needful checking or should not do the needful scrutiny they need to do. What I'm saying is that the government has a fundamental obligation to the Liberian people. And that obligation has got to do with the quote unquote 100 days commitment. Right after Joe Biden was sworn in as president of the country, the 100 day, the became one of the most important discussions in the country. It became one of the most important discussions in the country. Other people said uh, the president was not going to be able to achieve that 100 days commitment. So if the president can devote part of his 100 days to the issues about forming a government, then I am doubting the possibility of the president being able to execute or being able to be very successful or make a mark, a meaningful mark in the quote unquote 100 days commitment. You know, Liberians, if you ask Liberians regarding whether the president would definitely be very successful in the in his 100 days commitment that he made during the course of the elections, some Liberians have a very, some Liberians have a very contrary view to that. The level of the level of doubt regarding the president's 100 days continue to increase by the day, continue to increase by the day. So I thought the president has a lot more to handle the issues about unemployment. You know, for a very long time now, Liberia as a country, most of our people, the educated ones, the ones who are not educated, economically wise, economic has a distinctions for all those who are residing in the country, whether you are educated, whether you are not educated, whether you are half educated, economics has a distinction. So the president has a very huge responsibility. For a very long time, there has been lots of recommendations from several other economists, people who understand the movements of Liberia politics, some people who have lived in Liberia, and they understand so many issues. And both of them have made a parallel recommendations to not only the Joe Bracken government, they have made a recommendation to every government that there was a need for them to expand the private sector. Because if you expand the private sector, Liberians will lose appetite for the public sector. Liberians will definitely lose appetite for the public sector. The reason why many people has developed an unusual appetite for the public sector is because there is absolutely the private sector is not open. There is no competition within the private sector. So if you have a government that will dive more attention, that will dedicate more time towards opening up the private sector, Liberians will definitely heal them because one of the most important things from the government is that people look up to the government for the issues about being able to provide jobs, to be able to reduce the unemployment gap. The unemployment gap. That's the most important thing. So we will not want to hold you much. We will not want to hold you much. We have an experienced person. I call him a mentor. Erickson Kiamun. He's a teacher, policy, a policy developer. He's somebody who understands a lot of the issues, especially in the politics of our country, like Liberia. So Erickson Kiamun, we have been planning this thing. Yeah, we have been planning this thing. If I have my own authority, I would say, yes, Erickson should have time to be able to caution ties our people, be able to inculcate our people, because when it comes to the issues of education, and when it comes to all the key issues, Harrison should play the role. And so let me begin to recognize uh, comedian A. Miles Dendele. He said, boss. So thank you for following as well. So we have Harrison Kemu here in our studio. So we'll soon go over to Harrison Kemu. So the discussions, keep sharing the live video, keep sharing the live video. So let's go over to Harrison Kemu. As just walk in our studio, you can see the man Harrison Kemu is trying to do a little preparation so that we can kick started. so we can get started the conversation. There are lots of things to talk about. One of the most important discussions in our country has got to do with the issues about the establishment or the call for the establishment of a World and Economic Crime Code. Interestingly, at the lower house, first of its kind, 49 representative, 49 representative was able to pen their signatories, to the call for the establishment of the War and Economic Crime Code. For me, I support the call for the War and Economic Crime Code in Liberia, but I think it should be observed very carefully. It shouldn't be a give and take issue. So we have Erickson Cameron. Let's go straight over to our guest, Erickson Cameron. Uh, Veteran educator Erickson Cameron, you are welcome to the program Good Even Liberia. So the people are actually listening to you. The people are actually listening to you. They want to hear from you. It has been a very long time. You haven't appeared because of your visit schedule. You know, the Unity Party government, everybody is trying to make one or two connections. So welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you, Lana. It is an honor being home. I always love to come here and make my little contribution on to even Liberia, making sure that people have the understanding of the social dynamics of the state. So I'm honored to be home. Thank you for the question. Thank you for the kind of work you are doing here to make sure you keep the people abreast with information on a daily basis.
Okay, okay, thank you. So you just listened to Erickson Cameron. He beautifully says some amazing things about the conversations, and we acknowledge the kind of work we are doing here as online TV, trying to address the people with the issues about national happening. So let's go over. I want you to be. There are lots of things happening in the country. One of the noise prior to the recent noise that is in the country now has got to do with the tenure position. So, in your own general perspective, being very honest and speaking to issues as a Liberian, what do you make of the tenure position? Is the president proceeding correctly? Do you somehow disagree with the president's action? What's your own general perspectives about the tenure position issue?
Well, speaking of tenure position,
Mhm.
I think some years down the line, prior to the Georgia administration,
Mhm.
there were some high-level recommendations from international community
Mhm.
in line with international best practices to establish undergrad institutions and other financial institutions, government checkpoint institutions
Mhm.
that will have tenure and making it basically independent, far of interference and things. So the tenure allowed that particular administration to function independently because the president doesn't have a full oversight to do the work at his will and pleasure in line with good standing and governance. But then when the George Weah administration came on board, there were some of the tenure issues that were thwarted to the legislature, to the process. They
Mhm.
were compromised, and then training were compromised, and things were worked on differently.
Mhm.
So moving forward, that become a working tools
Mhm.
for national government. So whoever comes on board, whatever the case is, those laws that were made rather, they should be fully respected. So for any reason there is a tenure position in a particular sector, and it says that this guy is supposed to serve for 1 year and his time has not elapsed, giving holding all factor constraints, he qualified to stay in that position.
Mhm.
Except for further reason would be like, for example,
The violations
the
of code of
violation of the
conduct.
code of conduct,
Mhm.
and the president does not express excessive interest in working with you. There are some people. I gave you an instance where after the vetting, I mean, after the re-emergence of the central bank, it used to be the National Bank of Liberia,
Yeah.
when it changed to central bank. There was several recommendations that came forth from the World Bank and other developing partners. They were to do the selection. They gave the text, and Mel Jones was not the favorite. The favorite was uh, Wilson Tablet. Yeah, Wilson talked about President Celine in her wisdom had no interest in
Opted
working.
for
Yeah,
for
opted for.
mhm.
Yeah, so those are some of the cases that we look at very clearly because it's about building relationship in governance.
Mhm.
It's about who you are totally free, to do this people work with. So
Yeah,
that's how it goes.
yeah. Since this wahala about the stripping people off their tenant positions in one of the second of appointment made by the president over the last few days, some Liberians classified or bring the president's actions as being a witch hunt, a witch hunt, and while other people believe that the president does have the constitutional mandate. I listened to the other day. I listened to the justifications from Ben Shuben Keita, who is the legal advisor to President Joseph Jomo Boakai, citing Article 56 of the Constitution. In spite of all of those battles regarding the tenure position, what do you make? Is it that the president is proceeding rightly, or the president should have altered in a due process to have those tenure officers, even if at all they violated the code of conduct, be removed to a due process?
The process is ongoing, and
Mhm.
there are a lot of things that will happen along the line. If you go to the true definition of public administration, that which our government is involved with, it is a working days activity of all the world's bureaucrats. So whether government was in error, they made a particular mistake along the line, you know, and how that mistake can be corrected moving forward for future, reference or so. Those are all the workings of government. Every day in the workings of government, it's not a fixed template that is there to say you should do this quick jacket thing. Those are people coming together with ideas to make sure that the country functions in the rightful manner. That's why I talk about interest in people working, fairly in making sure that it's the taste of the president. So the right thing to be done is to appoint people who you think you can work with. So if there was a turning position and the person have committed no crime, and for the president has no right, in any capacity to change the bed and make you set his position. Once that position is over, you can have another person go in a particular direction, far of politics. So the right thing should happen if it is the case. But if in the case of where there's a violation of the code of conduct, that person should be replaced with
One
immediate
person
effect.
targeted regarding one of the 10 officers who has since been targeted, whose name we have heard so far regarding the National Fishery and Aquaculture, Emma Miata Glasgow. She says on no condition she can vacate her position as the managing director of NAFA unless it can be done through a due process. Is it that Emma is trying to disrespect or is she pushing a legal argument, a valid legal argument?
I think her argument has no basis. She violated to the fullest. Emma Glasgow, for saying all over the country, canvassing for President George Weah during the elections. She was saying as citizens are going to make personal donations and statement. So for the most part, that violates the code of conduct. So coming back after the era, she has no basis of going to sit at the fishery again. You may have been the best public servant. You may have provided all of what you're supposed to provide in your workings as public servant at a particular entity. But at the point where you violate the code of conduct, it's a complete disrespect to the law, and so you stand no chance. So she has no magnitude of hope to survive. So she should be leaving that place peacefully, otherwise she will have herself to blame. Blaming herself will be she will be. I mean, they will get her whatever mean it is because she has no chance to stay there. What kind of legal mean is she looking for anyway? When you print that T-shirt,
Apparently, she won that. If the president wants to
she
choose
signed up.
people,
She signed up to a code of conduct. Every
yeah, she
official
signed up for
government
a code
signed
of
up to a
conduct,
particular code of conduct.
and she believed that the issues about exercising after whether she violated the code of conduct should be done through a due process rather than people just waking up one morning and telling her you have to leave because you violated. It hasn't been channeled through the due process.
She loved the interest of the public opinion. So she had a good piece of chance. Other people have come in and said,
Uh,
you sign up to a code of conduct, you make sure you live up to it. It's just easy to do.
all right. Let's go. Considering the fact that the Supreme Court, those 10 officers, the likes of Elwina Zakpa from LTA and other people, Garrison Yenu, and they all went to the Supreme Court, and based upon that, the Supreme Court was able to place a state order, and a conference was being called. However, the both of the parties, all of the parties didn't live up to the conference that was being called, and it was later scheduled. What do you think would be the decision coming from the angle of the government, considering the fact that all both parties didn't appear before the highest court in the land to have a conference that could be tailored around having resolutions around that particular matter?
So the thing is, it's just simple. The mere fact that that was taken to the court and there was a conference call.
Mm-hmm.
That the conference has always been rescheduled, but the reality is that there are evidences on hand to prove that Garrison Yelu from Lima County was on CDC campaign team. He was named as one of the anchors of Lima County to make sure that President John Weah win the election of the second date. So, but no evidences are provided. So it is not in the hands of the law to acknowledge the true meaning of what the essence of what they went there for. So when no evidences are provided, they actually give me some change. But I think their step by going to legal process were okay, but given the fact that they don't have enough evidences on hand, I mean they don't have it substantiate stuff to prove how they were now invoiced, which is the reason why they are being kept away from the scene. So they will not appear for any conference, trust me.
All right, let's go over to another issues in the country that has since been making rounds in the politics of our country, especially in this governance cycle of this new administration. We have heard about the issues about name swapping, presidential nominees have been swapped. And there was a time we heard about a particular story involving our own sisters from this district, Cornelia Crowd, who is the deputy minister for administration of the Ministry of State. And we have been hearing other names who are involved, who are allegedly involved into these issues about replacing or changing names. What do you make of this entire saga? It is about time that the president need to call for a comprehensive audit of all of those appointments he has made so far.
And dear brother, appointment was made by the president of the Republic of Liberia. They become valid. We are not mentioned any of the names on that list. As you may be aware, after the rumors, there was a press release from the presidential press secretary of denouncing the allegation level. It was fake, it was lie, it was misleading, it has no iota of truth, it cannot fit to a little hole. So we need not, if we come here to have conversation, we need not to be having no kind of conversation because in my mind, it doesn't you anything because the executive marshal, those are rumors, those are propaganda coming from the belly of people who are on the other hands of the barricade. So it doesn't make any sense for us.
It doesn't really center around the new community, other important people within the cycle of the Unity Party who help the Unity Party to go to where they are. They were also being accused
So the reality is not look at the accuser. Who are they accusing? Is it the president of the Republic of Liberia accusing Prince Moy or the legs of the party chairman that they are faking letters or signing letters in absent? The president has now spoken in that direction. The executive marshal is saying the rumors that is flying in the corridors, those are all lies. It's a variety of lies, and they have no idea of the truth. So we should not be having no kind of the conversation. What we should be having is a way forward of our country, how we can make sure that Liberia becomes a better place. Because our atmosphere is totally charged. You understand that every day there will be everyday politics and people will say things that are not in line with the 40. And so we should not be talking about things that the executive marshal will come on and say this did not happen. And then we still say it happened. So what about the breading of proof is always on us to provide. So now I don't prove that SYC person working government or scout of the Unity Party sign certain document and those people are in position. Everybody have gone through the confirmation. The confirmation letter, the process is so unique that when a person is being nominated, you have an in-person conversation with the people, with the president, the team, The president thing, they ask you as to whether you have a prior understanding of the position that you are going to serve. More to that, you have to visit the executive mansion to receive a green letter. That letter is a nomination from the president to you. Further letter, further copy of that communication is sent to the Liberia Senate until it can go to the Liberia Senate. It's not valid because the president can nominate you to a position that is subject to Senate confirmation. It's possible that the Senate does not see copy of the letter, so they don't cite you, and they don't know they don't you don't go to that formal job interview, and you will not go to that particular position. So the reality there is a whole lot of key steps that leads to how one receive the nomination. So it's fake. The news reading the corridor is very fake because people are receiving a letter at the executive mansion. So how come other people are receiving letter outside of the executive mansion and they are going for Senate confirmation? That can be true.
All right.
Can I take up this? It's the chief office of the president that sent the copy of the letter to the upper hall informing them that XYZ person has been nominated in XYZ position. So you can be creating crevice of lies to help us the entire process. The only thing that I found difficult that is currently going on is that the coming out of the name is very slow and that after the public administration process.
What do you think is responsible for that?
I think they are trying to get the best mind, and also it's not a great way to get the best mind because the act criteria said, there are alliances that were put together and formed, the Unity Party, and there were other political party and interest group that came together to support. So at this point, those are interest are sending names and nominating people to particular recommending them to set up in position. So for example, if Lano and Erickson name was set for different political grouping, but for the interest of Joseph Walker and to serve a particular post, they tend to look at Lano, what Lano tend to bring to the table and what Erickson tend to bring to the table, looking at credential, work experience, accountability, competency, and all of that. So the measure at a particular level, and so Lano is qualified, with Erickson. So we will put who on Lano on list A and then send Erickson because given the level of qualification. But then Lano has to be replaced, to another position. So what happened? So looking for slot and trying to measure who fits where and who can do the work good. That is why delaying.
Okay. Let's dive to other important issues. You having observed the nomination process and have a clue of how the process is being done, even though you have some opposing views into how the process is. But if you were to gauge the number of nominations that have been made by the president so far, what specific qualities that meet your standard?
I think I've listened to nearly all of the contributions in the nominees.
Is it in line with the rescue agenda?
Sure, their expose or what they presented, those are things that are in line with the movement for justice. But the important thing there is that there is a need for cohesion. Cohesion in essence is putting all of the ideas together through a national agenda, placing it on one paper, defining identities in terms of how, like for infrastructure development, social protection, road network, XYZ, rural development, how all of the variables can fit into one cap. So that we can all, wear that cap, one direction to make sure we meet the national agenda. That's why it's important. Because every speaker that went out to the Liberia Senate, they had their own new ideas and recommendations to put forth. Mind you, the EREX is not a policy. It is the National Party manifesto that is yet to be transformed and translated into a policy document as a national agenda for the country. How is it defined? It is defined through a roadmap from a bottom to top approach where they will have to bring all of the penal issues, all of the concerns. It is education, agriculture, they have to bring it back to you and I, our ordinary people, to have our take through our stakeholders meeting, palaver halls, and national agenda setting, all of that. When that is done, it is being put into a piece of document at a retreat sent to the legislature for ratification, and which will have a national agenda. So we've got a whole year to go. We have a whole thing to do with that document. So areas will have to be defined. It is not defined at the moment. So individuals coming with ideas is defined. How does the idea fit in, the areas to become a national agenda? How we don't find ourselves at the moment.
Yeah, let's look at the return of Gregory Coleman. He once served under the Ellen-led administration as the police director, and after George Weah took over, we saw the likes of Gregory Coleman and Gregory Coleman at the time. Gregory Coleman stayed at the police. There were several other issues about the rule of law being not being very proactive like the way it used to be. And Liberia has since been calling for a more revised security systems. What do you think the resurfacing of Gregory Coleman eyed in the group of strengthening as Liberians are now optimistic of a call for there to be a revamp into our security sector, especially the police?
I think it's a rising of the terrorism in line with the Liberia National Police. They bring a whole lot of book. As you may be aware,
Mhm.
during the ascendancy of President during the Manasele administration, it was the first time in the history of the Liberia National Police to establish a professional standard division where batches number were assigned police officer, and then there was an issue of police reporting when the police is not doing the right thing. There was a complaint that citizens were not using the video camera and videotaping police. We saw an array of drones flying over the traffic during the evening hour and late evening, monitoring all of our communities areas to make sure that security surveillance, were fully monitored to the fullest.
Mhm.
And we saw CC camera being planted to major focus point of our country where the police were monitoring the flow of traffic
Mhm.
and criminal activities around our country. And you saw for the first time in the history of the LNP that the national headquarters were renovated to the fullest right after the April 6th war. It was the first time. The second time was during the administration. So taking into consideration how poor Mobile, Jote, Amula, and all the likes of the other people
Gregory Coleman,
and there was no renovation carried on for the first time
Mhm.
for the LNP headquarters to be painted blue and white and fully furnished and renovated was doing uh, uh, a commission. RG Coleman
Yeah,
plan.
Coleman.
And so there was a serious change in the police where uniform was assigned. Was supplied.
Now you have been,
Yeah.
and now you
So,
have been
so
repositioned in
come
that.
here, reposition. It's just a wake up call for us to know that the LMP is going to do better. But that's a challenge. There's a serious challenge. 6 years down the line, the LMP was fractionalized. It was turned into a partisan police with the help of Patrick Sulu.
Is that a sincere? Is
Yeah,
that a
so it
sincere
is
statement?
sincere giving all of the workings of the police during the 6 years. The
Mhm.
police were never professional in their approach to issues, the way they handle issues. Patrick Sulu remarks that he made the activities, his involvement, his deputy involvement into national issues.
Let's talk about this issue about nighttime patrol. Nighttime patrol has been one of the issues Liberia have since observed that the police has not been involved with for the last 6 years. What is Pakistan doing in a wake of trying to beat up the nighttime?
Greg.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Greg-
if you listen to Greg during his confirmation hearing, that was one of the pitfalls of the police that he named. He provided several recommendations and to reinforce, reawaken not only nighttime patrol, but to have security surveillance from full 7 around the clock, and even before the strength of the national security, the national police, and that comes with increment in salary as well because it is being known that the police is underpaid at the moment. And so what can be done is to have a beef in the salary and as well increase the manpower and increase the workings of the police 24/7 to have a 24/7. It's not only during the night. Crimes are also committed during the day, mostly committed during the day as well because there are less attentions or so. So the nighttime patrol need to be worked on to the fullest so that the security can work vigorously to make sure that crimes are being limited or so. So the daytime patrol, the commission, the IG spoke about it keenly, and then they need to work in that direction because if you take a patrol around Mauritius during the course of the night, you will not see a single police officer standing during executing his or her duty. That is wrong. It happened the security of the states. The German that the black with the citizen. But that happened just around the time where the Mr. President said we should have our own CC camera and be our own security. So he gave the police chance to go and rest. So there was a common joke that during the evening hour the police are asking for the bread and the tea. So the wheelbarrow, but when they get tea and bread, I want to go fix my tea. That is a normal. You can't have that happen in country around us here, in Liberia. So if you travel to the Ivory Coast, you see the gendarmerie during the late evening. They pack their cobalt, you know the cobalt.
Yeah.
The cobalt is those long trucks and things. They get about 16 gendarmeries at every major intersection. When you go to Accra, similarly, the police, John security, they all want the street searching people during the night. Once it's after 8 o'clock, they stop every car checking. Once you okay, you free to go. If you pass by, and that happened in Ivory Coast. It's 7 it's in concrete, and Liberia is no exception to form of development in terms of security.
Oh, to a great extent, the issues about drug pandemic has been one of the uprising problem for the last 6 years under former President George Weah. Joe Wakard, when he was in opposition, his Unity Party, they were since bashing at the past government for the issues about drug issues, the proliferation of drugs, the numerous of ghettos being planted, and so, according to his word, based upon many of the criticisms the level against the Weah-led administration, the president then declared drug and substance abuse as a national public health emergency, and he went ahead by appointing a very aggressive man who he believed will definitely tackle the issues of a drug pandemic. And since A.B. Kurman was appointed to that position and subsequently confirmed by the Liberian Senate, they have been doing a whole lot of job by arresting those people who are in the field of the substances. What what particular emphasis do you want to add, especially given the fact that this drug issue is something that is national, is not something that is leading that it requires the involvement of every Nigerian because if you do a comprehensive study, you get to notice that most Nigerian home, every Nigerian home is affected by this pandemic. What further emphasis? Because I listened to Eddie Kurman on the radio the other time when we talk about the issues about drug being a national security issue. He talked about he started highlighting the issues about challenges the Liberian drug enforcement agencies faced with. I am mostly concerned about the rehabilitation process. What specific emphasis do you want to add to that particular issue?
Speaking of rehabilitation, but before I go in there,
Mhm.
I want to tell you a little story about one kid that I know. He's a very young fellow. He's my personal mechanic.
Mhm.
I've took my car to take for yesterday to have a repair on the car.
Mhm.
So once you completed the job, I had to pay him off. The next minute, the guy was sitting in a chair and I saw him going so low to the ground, the hand folded and very deep. Only to find out that the guy had taken the money that I just gave him.
How long? How
Uh,
long? How long have you been?
for a very long time, I didn't even realize that he was taking coups or so. So
Mhm.
that is a national concern.
Mhm.
And you spoke of rehabilitation.
Mhm.
So it's key. But permanently, it's important that the DA from the anchor the DA they track down those who are
Yeah, this what law.
the trafficking the laws and things.
Mhm.
On the other hand, from the Ministry of Health and through the same DEA, they can create some level of rehabilitation programs to help rehabilitate the user of the drugs. But importantly, we need to tackle the head. The reality there is that like Europe have become a hub for drugs over the years.
Mhm.
Very free area. So the proliferation and how
Yeah, the 100
yeah,
million
1
drug.
million drugs and everything that circles around us and how international intelligence were able to track those drugs down. Like we were only used as a hub. But then portion of those drugs remain in our country and is causing problem today. So it's not only the president announcing it as an emergency, but it's going far beyond just announcing it as an emergency and defining programs that will help to rehabilitate the young people because as is often said, that the young people are the future leader of our country.
Mhm.
So if all of the minds are jeopardized by the uses of drugs and you name it, it become a problem for a promising future. Nobody will have a future again.
Mhm.
If for mechanic, very young, diesel mechanic, you just work on the car just in 1 hour time, the car outside now for almost 6 months, able to pick up and moving strongly now. It means that there are huge potential in these people who are using drugs.
Mhm.
And when we tend to realize that potential, utilize that potential and help them to redeem them from the hands of this wickedness.
I was speaking about the rehabilitation program which has caught your attention so far. What specific kind of rehabilitation program do you deem it necessary to basically tackle those people who are already been affected by the issues of drug addictions?
Oh,
Is it that we should just go and remove the drug in them
no,
and bring them back into society, or you want a rehabilitation where
rehabilitate
the
and
skills are given
yeah,
to
yeah.
them
So you
after?
reintegrate.
Mhm.
So the reintegration process will be followed by skills through the TVET,
Mhm.
technical and vocational. If you listen to the deputy minister for technical and vocational education, Minister Lama Yonton, he clearly spoke about how they have learned to incorporate the use of drugs who will go through rehabilitation through the Ministry of Youth and Sports.
Mhm.
And I think that just in line with the issue of rehabilitation.
Mhm.
But AB Kuman is working, is doing magnificent work, but need to beef up their strength. One of the challenges that he had at the moment is that manpower. And for the most part, I think 90% of the people that he uses to go after the use of a drug, they are not paid, they are not on payroll, they are not fully uniform, and they don't have a serious assignment.
Mhm.
So if you can work on all of those things, making sure that they are paid on time, they are given uniform, they are being assigned batch number, and then they are on payroll, and they have there's serious, how you call it, confidentiality exists within that unit.
Mhm.
They give the unit more trust to work and be able to hunt the issue of drug. I
Mhm.
think it's not a one thing. It requires a whole level of work. It requires security strategies to track down the use of drugs and people who are involved with drugs. I think when the issue of drugs arises, we should take it very serious in terms of how we engage in our community. We should report. There should be reporting stand up for people, the users of drugs. And if we track down a user, it's easy to track down a dealer because the user will lead you to the dealing spot or so. So all of the programs need to be put in place so that we can make sure we eradicate drugs from our society.
During his confirmation here with Abe Kurman, I overheard him making a lot of reservations on how to lost church and to make the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency more great than it used to be. He talked about the issues of restructuring the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, committing each one of those LDA to a drugs test and other key recommendations that has to do with an increase in budgetary
Yeah,
allocations.
sure. So
What do you make of those all of those
we
things?
just said those things. So it's very important. In
Mhm.
the absence of finance, you cannot have smooth operation going on.
But
Firstly,
let's talk about the restructuring of the LDE.
there is a need for restructure.
Mhm.
As I spoke about intelligence, intelligence is very important.
Mhm.
When we restructure the LDEA,
Mhm.
we have a full insight of how our intelligence work.
Mhm.
Because we'll be introducing the issue of a drone system to monitor the use of people who are in the hub using drug or bringing in drug in the country. The restructuring will encompass the activities that involve in the workings of the DEA,
Mhm.
defining the clear rule of who does what and what needs to be done at a particular point in time. And then budgetary allocation, incrementing the budget we have to boom the workings. When a man is being paid properly and then he's on payroll this time around and informed, giving intelligence to drug users or involved with drugs activity, and he can be prosecuted to the fullest because we pay him to do a piece of job. But at the
Oh,
moment, 90% of the DA officers, they are now on payroll. Some are even home, but they are working with the DA. So those are the very people that are bringing all the intelligence to the community of users.
let's talk about LEC, the issues about LEC, If you listen to like Nigerians, they have a different opinion about the LEC. The other days, a segment of them were advising the president on radio, which of course I listened to that there's a need that they remove Money Captain from that particular position because, in their opinion, they believe that Money Captain is not performing in line with what he's supposed to be doing. What do you make of the issues about LEC situations in our country, especially the issues about the instability of power?
Chief,
Mhm,
2020, the beginning of 2023,
mhm,
2022, after the distribution across the country, we had every dry season in this country,
mhm,
there was shortage of current
mhm,
in part of the time.
mhm,
It's not the southeast region the southeastern region that is connected to the Ivory Coast,
mhm,
from Mauritius, Kakata, and moving up downward
mhm,
to the western cluster. We always had issue of current
mhm,
because of the McCoffey thing and the limitation in the power supply during the dry season.
mhm,
2022, 2023. In 2022, we saw the European Union and the World Bank having a joint resolution informing the George Weah administration to put back their money that was taken from the consolidated fund
mhm,
for the sponsoring of the LEC.
mhm,
You heard Monica Tam say because of the lack of finance, the turbo band that was dying and the fury of the generator is a challenge now.
mhm,
Where the problem came from, that problem suscitated from the George Weah administration when they went and took monies that were meant for the maintenance at the LEC and use it for other means, which are totally wrong. When they brought that administration to put the money back, everyone up paid dead ear on it. Nobody talk about it. Today, we are saying Joseph Waga administration LEC is a problem,
mhm.
but there was a root cause. Monica Tan is just an individual. He was over the LEC as head, and then but what we can do now to solve the problem of the electricity to make it a holistic one that
Mhm.
I mean it can be affordable to all is the approach I think this administration is taking now because we are not leading anybody. Georgia administration is out totally. It's no longer president of the state. Liberia has a challenge. Electricity is a problem. Our industry are not booming because we don't have adequate electricity supply. What we can do now is to tap into opportunities around, and you see the president is on a feet
Mhm.
in the Ivory
I heard,
Coast, in the Ivory Coast right now.
yeah,
Ivory Coast is supplying current to the part of the country. How we can improve our extension? The very money Qatar is on that trip with the president.
mhm.
They need to have that bilateral conversation with our neighboring partner.
Some
The
members
last
of
time you
the
and I were
some
here,
members of the Houses
yeah,
Committee
the
on
last time you
Energy.
and I were here, we talked about the opportunity that Ivory Coast afford
Uh-huh.
that the Ivory Coast afford, and as Liberia, as a
Mhm.
neighboring country, we are not being able to tap into that opportunity.
Mhm.
I think they listen to us well. And then you see the president's the first his visit is now to Ivory Coast just next door. They will be discussing agriculture issues, electricity issues, and how Ivory Coast can extend that current over here. But what are the mentors, the models that are being used in Ivory Coast that is making sure that Ivory Coast is prospering to the full that
Yeah,
Liberia is no different. We are not
what are the
we can
shared
tap into
responsibility as
yeah,
well?
so
Mhm,
so you see that. So we're looking for that restorative measure, long-term approach
mhm,
that as a government we should be able to carry out
mhm.
rather than just alluding things to shifting blame on past government or looking at short-term measure how we can move our country. It's a long-term thing. If we think about improving our government, we should start raising money from international partners or
Mhm.
even through tax to make sure that we face it down. And then we cross the face of shortage in electricity or so. Rather, if we change money time today
Mhm.
and put in everything can move, there will be a bigger problem because
Mhm.
I don't have a prior understanding of the workings there.
Mhm.
Money Carton have told us that lack of funding,
Mhm.
servicing of the
The
generator in the
generators.
top of bank is low. I mean, we're operating on one foot. We cannot supply the entire country, all of that.
Oh,
So we
okay.
should be thinking about how we can increase
Looking at
funds.
this long process which we have followed for time in, time out. What is the ideal recommendations that this government can export that would definitely lead us to a permanent solution?
I think the
Uh,
issue of electricity should be privatized. There should be a whole level of privatization,
mhm,
private-public partnership issue with the issue of electricity. For example, we got a little current at the moment.
mhm,
The whole issue about monitoring
mhm,
the flow of the current, power theft.
A very effective
It's
authority.
not, yeah, it's not effective right now. When you to take land up
Mm.
and say, Randall, come and establish your company, you are responsible for monitoring the evaluation of the usage of the current thing. The other man is there to edit, audit whoever is playing with Fana. Randall is coming with a serious mindset
Mm.
to make sure that M&E become a viable tool
Yeah, yeah.
in that particular sector. So he's not going to take his job seriously. It's a private institution
Mm.
that's coming to monitor the flow of the current. So you're going to take it because he provides employment opportunity in the first place. The second thing, you got a piece of work to do.
Mm.
But you got to see LEC that provide the current.
Mm.
They are the one monitoring. They are the one doing everything. At the end of the day, you find problem in that particular sector.
Mm.
And so there are other means that around the world that people are using now for electricity. Electricity is industry growth.
Mm.
They have to move industrial. People are using fiber energy.
Uh-huh.
People are using solar energy.
Mm.
As I met a friend in the UAE who spoke highly of doing it. Having interest in Liberia to come and involve.
Get
Get
involved
involved
into the energy
into
sector.
the energy sector,
Mm.
and they wanted to bring solar energy that can help. For example, Cape Ma, Guapulu, and Bomi.
Mm.
That's a whole region. It's called the Western
The
Cluster.
Western
We
cluster.
can say Western Cluster. You are not connected to the Macoffey Dam.
Mm.
But we're going to have a solar plant in that place, private owned solar plant, and then that particular company will provide electricity to the rest of that region. Affordable.
Mm.
It's being managed, affordable, and it's accessible to the people. At the end of the day, the problem with electricity is solved down there. At the point where they realize that they have efficient current supply, they can flow to other part of town. You come as far as the support bridge and cut that particular side, and like people can become a better place. Rather than still thinking that we can improve our top of bank, or while we're still looking for means to improve the facility at the McCoffey. So those are the extravagant measures, long term added value added additional that we need to get involved with.
Let's look at the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism, where Jamil Piat has been confirmed to take over as the minister, and he has since had a ceremony and then to his to him operating as the minister proper of the ministry. For a very long time, obviously, we have seen that the ministry has since been used as a tool to just be defending the government when each of whose it has three cardinal responsibilities to actually live up to the issues about disseminating factual information, the issues about promoting Liberian culture, the issues about promoting tourism. Now, what do you think that Jeremiah Pierre, who speak about innovation, who talk about all the key issues about having the ministry revitalized, revamping the ministry, what do you think is going to bring to the table?
So when you praise me for all walks of life, it bring me to the attention that you have made me to feel that I'm jack of all.
No, no, no. It's not
I don't have all of the ideas.
it's not.
Yeah,
It's
so
not
I don't have all the
the
ideas,
the drag of all
yeah,
because
but the reality there is,
and
I think I know Jeremiah Pierre
mm,
personally.
mm,
He been a study class teacher to me before. He
mm,
been a big brother. We slept in the same room. I drove. I boarded with him in his own car before
mm,
when he was a presidential press secretary for Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, when he was a teacher at the St. Mary's Catholic High School
mm,
across the bridge. I have known him to be a very good person.
mm,
He's a best friend to one of my mentors, Dr. William P.G. Barnes.
mm,
And so I know him to be someone who have a bright mind.
mm.
And if he has said anything to the Liberian people, I take him by his word because he's very forceful in moving.
Mm.
He may not be a fast talking person,
Mm.
but he has a lot of ideas across the floor that he can put forth for the Liberian people. But if you ask me personally what my take on the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism,
Mm.
I think he has just been a propaganda arm
Mm.
for government impasse.
Mm.
And now what they need to do is to have to rebrand of the process to suit the true meaning of the institution to promote national agenda, cultural activity of the state.
Mm.
And if you ask me again, I think that the ministry, the culture and tourism arm of the ministry
Mm.
should be separated from the information arm so as to have vibrancy in
But,
that
but,
area of
but,
the
but
state.
prior to the census of Jamil, what is your view about the Ministry of Information, Culture,
I think
and
you, I,
Tourism?
I think it was just a propaganda arm for national propaganda machinery for
and
national government
and
against opposition
mm,
and to promote government interests, whether they were in the good faith of the best interest of the country or against or for. They were just there promoting government interests and providing lies and fallacies to the Liberian
what's
people.
about what's about the other sector, the two sectors that has to
It
do with
was
the
there.
music?
The issue of culture and tourism was there to the fullest.
Mhm.
You saw individual person trying their foremost best to make sure that they promote tourism, but it's very expensive. It requires a defined program
Mhm.
where models that need to be set to make sure that the issue of tourism around the world is a money-making sector. And over the years, they have provided hospitality for people all around the world. You look at the Dubai today, a desert land that's been flooded by bulk of the people around the world over into that Arab nation to make sure to explode, the nature of God.
Mhm.
So in Liberia, we have the Sapo National Park, the Blue Lake, the Patawi Waterfall, and the Imbikeno, and every other area we have a lot of waterfalls, some areas that we are not even discovered.
Mhm.
How we cannot attract, people in that sector to make sure that we raise money because hospitality management is a whole key focus that draw investors into your country, it draw tourists into your country, it make money, it provide job opportunity.
If you
How
listen,
can we explore that sector now to make sure they can be vibrant?
if
That
you
is
listen
only
to
what we separate it from the Ministry of from Culture and Tourism.
if you listen to some Liberians and regarding those of them who have lived in Liberia for a very long time, they all of them. I listened to another person. The person told me Liberia used to be a hub of tourism attraction. Do you think that Liberia can regain that particular
The
position?
opportunities are there,
Uh,
the status are there. We just need to tap into the opportunity to fund a program and make sure that it's being budgeted, planned, and accounted for. Then we can get it started and keep up the game. Already, people are involved. Everybody that come to the country around a year,
yeah,
they,
especially the
this year,
December's.
around December, they must visit the Patawi waterfall.
Mhm.
That's a natural spring. And then people are going there. The lady there, she takes us and significantly well to make sure to develop the place into a kind of cultural area where people feel that level of interior,
Mhm.
design, and they want to always go back there. The distance leading from the road to the place is a very far adventure that someone want to take. Like you need the interior,
Yeah.
you hearing the sounds of the birds and all of that. You got a blue lake, that's a natural spring.
Mhm.
And then you got all of the. If you go to Cape Mount, you see the lake or in Cape Mount County, you always want to go. That's a very Rouse place, a very beautiful place that you take tourists and then they move around and go into the forest. You got the Bola forest. That's a dark shaded forest that you want to take people in for adventure and all of that.
Mhm.
So we got to define the programs and make sure that we attract people to those programs. So if the opportunities are there, and we are not utilizing it, then what is innovation is where the minister spoke about innovation, bringing the best minds together to make sure that they define programs and provide the opportunity. So if we attract foreigners into our country, into tourism activity. They are bringing their currency. We'll have tour guide moving around, carrying them all over the places, and then we'll have shuttle company that will be providing transportation. And you see how the tourism sector going to improve because the guys who ride in the shuttle, they are employed by the shuttles company. And the tourism company will be raising money and that employment opportunity is how we explore one sector to another.
Okay. Let's dive over into the most trending discussions that has sparked a lot of debates, a lot of opinions regarding our country, Liberia. If you listen to some Liberians, they have different view regarding this particular issues. For a very long time now, the recommendations from the Truth Reconciliations Commission has since been laid down looking at our leaders for implementations. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf did little of nothing. George Weah, who many people felt that he was the ideal personality, the president, to actually implement the recommendations from the TRC. He didn't do that because he, at some point of some point of his process that led him to the presidency, he got connected to one of those warlords. Probably that could be the justifiable reason why he was reneged on the establishment or the call for the establishment of the Royal Economic Council. Now sitting in the chair is President Joseph Walker, the man who has been having a series of meetings with the Americans regarding the call for the establishment of the Royal and Economic Council. What do you make as a Liberian regarding the call for the establishment of war economic and good?
Lano,
Mm,
let me be frank with you. If throughout my high school year,
mm,
if I didn't learn anything, I learned one thing, and I
mm,
took it very key. It was the definition of history.
mm,
It's a history is the study of past, present, and the future.
mm.
And another thing that is said, the reason why we study history, so as to avoid the mistakes made in the past. Is that correct? So if that is correct, I think President George Weah, a failure, like we always say when I come here,
Mm.
came from him not understanding the social dynamics of his working.
Was
But
it is it that the social dynamics was one of the call for the establishment of
it
one
was a
economic
call,
record when Liberian
yeah.
thought that he could
It,
be the best person to actually push for the coup?
it's not what the Liberian thought.
Mm,
It was about just making the right thing happen so that you can have a continuity of the government as a president,
mm,
so that you can be a successful president. I'm not being frank with you.
mm,
The US, the United States of America,
mm.
the British government, the French government, the Allied forces, they are work with some of the worst dictators around the world.
Mm.
Because they chose to dance with what they wanted in terms of their direct policy.
Success.
Yeah.
Mm,
So what do I mean?
mm,
Uh, in 2017, we spoke about the areas before, the
mm.
first resolution 1055.
Sure.
It's the first resolution in the US history in the last 30 years that was passed just in 3 minutes on the floor of the lower house in 2017. And it said in order for the US government and the Liberian government to have a smooth, honest growth, smooth working
Yeah.
relationship,
Mm.
there should be an establishment of an extraordinary community in
Exactly.
a criminal court
Mm.
in Liberia. So having been a smart person, President Erickson Camus is president of the Republic of Liberia. America is a traditional ally
Mm.
for Liberia, and they are extended helping hands across the country for a very long time. And I've seen that through and I saw how they brought other administration to the ground
Mm.
because that domestic, I mean, their foreign direct policy was not respected to the fullest. And America have placed it on their website and said this is the only way we will work with you as a country. And you, President George, he said no. I think you're talking, it made no sense. So you're now a very serious person.
Mm.
To be serious is to make sure that your government is being supported to the fullest. The government that depend on tax,
Mm.
domestic revenue to feed our people and make sure to bring development in a third world country, you are not going anywhere. You need an extension
Mm.
of help from international partners and other the people to work together as a team. France cannot work in the absence of the British government, the Swedish government, or you name it. Those are allied forces. So to have that support, you saw when John Weah went to Emmanuel Macron, President Emmanuel Macron, he promising you some money when he came out of Liberia. That money come to Liberia.
But yeah,
When he, when, he, when, he, when he went to
it-
Saudi,
yeah.
when he went to Saudi Arabia, when he promising the money, the oil, what you our country, I mean,
Is it tied to all of those?
yeah, sure. So once you turn your back, you have the Secretary of State
Mhm.
calling the Arab foreign minister and telling him say that guy is not a serious guy, don't send anything there. So the success of job we are going to depend on how he played his card with the international community. And we are seeing that now. If Joseph Walker, like I said the last time, I'm saying it again,
Mhm.
want a very successful government, we want the support of the international community, want to pay his civil servant on time, want to settle his debt issue around the world, and even domestic debt,
Mhm.
you will have to sign up.
And then we push for a debt waiver as
Yeah,
well.
debt waiver, you have to sign up
Mhm.
to the international norms, and that is to establish what can put in Liberia. I enjoy the speaker when he put it rightly. He said it's a need that the court come to Liberia rather than going to Ghana so that he can provide job opportunity, employment opportunity for Liberia. Because we have people working as supers, they'll be carrying water, they'll be riding truck, they'll be riding prison car and things. And so that is good. That is best for us. There were people who committed heinous crime in this country. They jeopardized our future. Arico is better than Liberia now. Sierra Leone is doing far more better. Conakry, that's equal to rate now. The French and developing. It's developing now. And Liberia is the least among its community of nations. So we must get on our footing. The best way to get on our footing is to get international support. And to get this international support, we adhere to international now. And the US government that controls the rest of the world is saying there should be an establishment of the court and there will be court to prosecute the people who jeopardize the future.
Let's look at the implications about establishing the code. some Liberians are concerned about the issues of security because if you want
Chief, let me warn you there.
if you want your code to be established,
the people that are going to spend that money, they're going to make sure that every lines aspect of security will not be an issue, will not be the challenge. We will provide security for it because money will be in it for security, and not a single person can protest the reality because that is overdue. It's overly due. Sorry, it's overly due. People committed crimes in the country for whatever reason. If they did that, they must come to book. They must be able to say it. And they must be judged according to the context
some
of
like
their behavior.
some Liberians got intimidated when Frank Johnson, who is captured in the PRC report, said that
Frank Johnson is an entity.
yes, Frank Johnson said that establishing the code will definitely derail the peace of our country.
It doesn't. It
What
doesn't.
what do
It
you
doesn't
make?
in any way. It doesn't in any way to bring any peace. It only allow
Uh,
for people who committed crime in the country to be brought to book,
mm,
and it has nothing to do with making like people ungullible or making like people unstable. I mean, for once, economic crime code. People stole money heavily and they are enjoying. You and I can have a full cup of rice to eat over the day. So if they are being punished for that, when everything Camus is being given the opportunity to sell, you will wash up because he doesn't want to be carried to the economic crime code in the future. You will do the right thing. Is that the only cultural impunity have been a serious problem to our country? People do things and they go free. So this time around we say no. When you are being you are being given a public trust. You should serve diligently with allegiance and make sure that you serve in line with the formalities. And when you leave from there, you should be honored and not disrespected, like in the case of people who stole our money. And they're being placed on the US State's website now as war criminal and they need to be brought to book.
so if you listen to some Liberians regarding the call for the establishment of a war and economic crime code, it is even glaring that the code will soon be established because surprisingly, the lower house of representatives took up by surprise when 49 members of the House of Representatives unanimously agreed to sign their signature to that particular document. What does it suggest to you? Firstly, what does it suggest to you for us to have this huge amount of people affirming their commitment towards the call for the establishment of war and economic crime code? Does it mean that Nigerians are out fed up with this thing and they are now putting that the code should be practically established in our country?
Two things happening.
Mhm.
Things can happen in a negative, in the affirmative, to make sure that the right thing happen.
Mhm.
Those votes that were cast at the level of the lower hall, most of those votes were protest votes.
Mhm.
In the political realm, it was protest vote. The CDC branch, the CDC
Yeah.
block
Uh-huh.
in the lower house,
They have the political dominance.
which have a political dominance in the lower hall,
Mhm.
were voting because they have high issues with some of the perpetrators. And then the issue was just political issues, like for example, you're supposed to support me, you didn't support me this time around. I will make sure that the work will come because I know you will be a factor
Yeah.
in the court. That was how. Most of them didn't vote because they wanted for the betterment of Liberia. They voted because, but it's good for the overall because this will help to bring the whole issue of culture and impunity to an end. They did it ignorantly, but they knew they did it for the best, in the best interest of the country. What do I mean?
Mhm.
Some years down the line, that very bill was sent to the same lower house. CDC had the numbers in there. Not a single CDC member who vote in favor of that vote. They jeopardized the working of their own government at the time. They thought they were doing it, to us as citizens of the country, but they were doing it to leave power until their government is out now and now they want to vote. It's okay that they voted, that the court will come. We are happy for them. We give them a round of applause for what they did, but it was done in the interest of the country. Ignorantly to them, it was done in the interest of the country, and we are happy for that.
If you listen to some Liberians, especially, I don't know what is a political tune or not. It does have a political tune. We listen to some people are saying that those of what step is taken against the coup, they call it for the coup is actually good, but it should not be enforced yet or as president of the
Chief,
country. What do you make of
the
that?
issue of the war crime code is related.
Mhm.
30 plus years ago, 20 plus years ago,
Mhm.
fought war in this country for no reason. People kill people here, and they are still being pushed to first year, second year. That's a joke. If you kill someone for chicken soup, you should be prosecuted, carried to the court, and ask question, why did you end up left? You don't give left. Why you end left? Because of chicken soup. And we'll find the end result of it is belated. People must go, and nobody should fool you that it will stir the peace of the country. That's a blatant lie. Freedom don't have a single power. He's not the only person in the first place. He's just one of the actors who need to go there and answer some of those hard questions as to why he did what he did. And then he's just one person. There's a whole list of people. It's not only with war crime or economic crime. People stole our money here before. And he's one of the person who always talking to people who steal money. So is he saying that we should kind of prosecute people who stole our money? Should we continue to steal money? We don't have best value for money in our country where someone built a Z house and it spent $6 million in the dollar market that was built. And the president said he sent over 60 million, I mean 6 million to build that prefab building that we saw down there. People should be questioned, they should be given a hard question. Those are taxpayer money. Worst case, those are donors' money that are being spent in those directions of the thing. So we must have a clear understanding of how monies are being spent. That would create a mindset of erasing the issue of corruption in our country. When corruption is eradicated, we can have infrastructure development, we can have a mindset of how we want to develop our country because there will be programs and plans to make sure that it's implemented fairly and we'll have best value for money. Nobody will be stealing money here. Trust me.
All right, let's go over to another topic. Uh, one of the fundamental issues Liberians have since hold Joseph Walker accountable for, wanting to see as to how Joseph Walker moved towards the fulfillment of that has got to do with the quote unquote 100 days commitment that was made by the president prior to him ascending to the presidency. Now that we have few days running down to the 100 days commitment, what is your view? Are you certain of the president's fulfilling that which, of course, is said to the Liberian people regarding the 100
the
days?
president still remain member of the board and have 41 day within the 100 day.
Is it possible for people to do? Is it possible for you to achieve that goal in the course of 41 days?
100%. Cabinet meetings are being held across the country. The last time on Friday there was a major cabinet meeting, and all of the sector ministries and agencies, directors and heads were there. They provided a plan of action before the formation of the area. Some of their subtle plans. To make sure that they move. I saw the likes of Roland Guinness, who is the public works minister there, presenting to the government a plan of a quick impact plan of action, just in line with the president thought.
It is a quick impact project, or it is something that is intended to provide a permanent solution.
It is a permanent solution because the 100-day deliverable would be a long-lasting issues that would drive the government in from time immemorial. So if he's saying that I want to make the road pliable, doing all year round, so it means that for years to come, not only the 6th year, but moving forward, that roadmap will be set so that the road can be pliable all of the time until we can have asphalt on all of the road. So there is nothing happening. Just have 41 days that is looped in, and then efforts are being made. Efforts are only way to make sure that those things are happening. They are on changing hands, and there are things that are happening along the line when someone says, I will do this. There are other variables that work. You saw the difference in the reporting, the financial issue by the president. The former president said he left XYZ amount, and in totality, it was not the amount. GSC had come out with a report. There was a push. There was a push to turn off the budget and to have for the working in order for the government to not have a collapse. So there are challenges, but the challenges will not serve as an excuse for the workings of the government. The government is on par. The president of the labor is working in that. In line with that. That's the reason why he has visited the area to make sure that he tap into some of the opportunities there. We'll tap into opportunities in our neighbors in the Mano River Union Belt to make sure that Europe become a better place. Mind you, government in a politically charged environment like Liberia. If you can't as a government and think you want to make political gain, it's a mistake on your part as a government. I think by providing authority, long-term measures that we have that will serve as a model for development. It's the only thing that any government can yearn for in a positive direction rather than just making political game. Okay, the president took tractor and created the entire Maryland road. But what are the programs put in place to maintain, for the next 16, 20 years, that particular road? So if we sign in contracts with the World Bank to make sure that we make the road pliable by putting asphalt on it, it's better off than just, creating the road because we want to get to Maryland quick. But signing contracts with companies, multilateral companies that will help to make sure that we build our road. Once the road is built, it's okay, the road is connected, electricity is flowing rather than just putting the whole whatever on and the next day go off again. We say we want to go to Aricos to have conversation with them to extend the current to the rest of Liberia, which is good. Those are things that we need to look at. Those are the direction we are looking at. So we are not deterred by the noise. The Unity Party Alliance, they are not deterred by the noise that is coming up currently. And you say 100 days. Assuming the 100-day part, Joseph Waka didn't do anything in 100 days. But there are plans on the board to make sure that Liberia will become better. And people, the society, history will judge in the action of that 100 days. There are other things. There were more good things that were done. There were more policies that were put in place to make sure. Mind you, like I said from the beginning, all of the anti-graft institutions in our country were undermined. The PPCC, the GSC, all of that. We got to bring integrity back to the institution. And bringing integrity, it requires time and planning and programs.
What is your view regarding the protestations at the Bear Mountain? Because for a very long time we have heard about this Bear Mountain situations. It was reported that 4 persons were killed in the Bear Mountain situations, even though there were reports that came out that the protesters were pelting stones at the police officer. Contrary to what many journalists reported, the police came out with a very shocking report that says that the protesters have firearms. But you as a Liberian, what is your own analysis of the Bear Mountain situations?
I think from my own standpoint, there are a lot of variables that are playing right now. And as part of it,
do you suspect some opposition?
No, I don't want to go down. What I want to say is that when there's an issue, one of the best ways to solve issues, conflicts, is through resolutions. And I think the people at the Bear Mountain they score 0 in their approach because just around the time that they are engaged, the National Bureau of Concession, National Investment Commission, all of the stakeholders involved to go into the matter to see how they could solve that particular issue. The issue about the Bear Mountain, is that Bear Mountain?
Yeah, Bear Mountain.
Bear Mountain. It's not a just.
It's not a new issue.
It's just it rings 6-7 years ago when the place was sold out to Western Cluster, to another, and even Greg served as an NBC chair before. He had probed into that matter. And so when the issue came out, there was a committee set out to investigate what was going on. In the absence of the investigation, the citizens of the county stood up against the company to protest, destroy property and life, destroy and take. 2 things happening here. I spoke to you about partisan police. Those are elements planted in the police. They are still there. So Patrick, the IG Greg need to be very careful on the approaches of the police right now because the elements are still planted. We saw them here 6 years ago, and we don't want to take it that route. What we want to do is that he got to be vibrant about how the police go about their workings. So in an even where left that is lost or less are lost or so, people tend to politicize issues and things, but they forgot about the protests and what they were doing, properties were being destroyed and all of that. Nobody wants for left to be carried away. Police should be a professional in an approach in terms of protests and things. They should stop killing.
Is President Joseph Boycott so passionate about the situations that took away the lives of some Liberians?
Yes.
Is he willing to also restore a permanent solution to all that issues?
Sure. As we speak, there's a committee being set to probe into the matter. He is concerned. He is fully concerned because that's a sector in the country that provides opportunity for job opportunity. It helps in shifting the private sector as well.
Is it going to favor the Liberian people rather than the foreigners?
It's going to favor every stakeholder that's involved in the process. So if there are benefits for the community will have the fair share of the benefits. There was some misunderstanding from the soul of the company was sold off, and liability should be incurred by incoming company or so. The incoming company is denying the opportunity that they cannot incur liability. So that's where the national government now need to come in and say, no, if you take over as a company, you
settle all the
you settle all, yeah,
liabilities.
sure. So that's where the problem is coming from. It's just simple to handle, and
Okay.
it will be handled to the
All right.
fullest.
All right. Let's talk about the issues about corruption. We President we have said that he was going to former President George Manuel we have said that he was going to fight against corruptions, and like under his leadership, like the corruption grew more than what Nigerians expected. Even though there was some steps taken against the fight of corruption, but it wasn't very sufficient. Corruption exploded to an extent where Liberians themselves got disappointed about the president's actions. Now that we have Joseph Waka, a few days ago, Joseph Waka set up a committee that has to do with the assets restitutions and recovery committee. What is your own impressions about the establishment of that particular attack force?
Chief, when in our own Liberian setting, when we were small, they always said when the Christmas would be good, you would know from the people. The amount of plastic bags that would float in the house, you see your mom coming, they're smiling and thing. That is to say, the issue of the establishment of the war and economic crime code is not only with war crime.
Yeah, it coincides with
economic crimes. So people who were involved in the corruption issue, who stole our country money, will be prosecuted. Now the asset recovery thing is just one aspect of it. If they found out that you were given XYZ position to manage, you went beyond your expectation and started exploiting, and the facts are provided, you will be prosecuted to the fullest. We do not blame any government. I mean, we blame you as a government when Liberian people give you the mantle of authority to serve, and you say this particular government I came from there is nothing, so I'm satisfied with them. I'm not going to, other than they are okay. It's so 85. 85 in school, the passing grade. Now the one is passing grade. So you say the best school, now the 8. So you're not going to prosecute them, man. As your business. But if we come as a serious government and we realize that things were done on the contrary, we will prosecute whoever was involved. If you're not guilty, you okay. If the evidences are provided that you are free to go, we'll allow you to go, but you will not take the Liberian people money and go away. You go through the process.
Oh, you're gonna take the Liberian people money to pay. I'm a bit concerned about the impartial nature of the assessment. How impartial is
so? If we speak about it being impartial, we gotta define the nature of it. What is here that is being impartial? What is wrong in saying there were a group of people who were given state resources to manage? There's no need that they account for what they were given. It's not being they are not targeting a particular group of people. It's about access, recurring access. We do have. Are you aware that there are monies in the international banks around the world that were frozen? And we need to go after the people, those who deposited the money there and thing, and those who all deposited the money, where they got the money from, and how they amassed so much wealth, at the detriment of the Liberian people or so. How you got XYZ money? It's not only with people who work in government; it's an individual person living in a community who building skyscrapers overnight and thing. And you don't know how he's getting the money. Government has to break to prompt into how he acquiring his wealth. Once he's free, we allow you go. The entire community will know you for being the richest man in that community. But people must be accountable for things that they do. So we need to, if people talk about being impartial or partial, we need to define it to say, okay, John and Paul were working in the government, but you go after Paul, you left Paul off. Everybody evidence that John had 10 million and Paul had only 2 million, but you go after Paul who got 2 million and leaving John who had 10 million, who stole 10 million. So those are the things we need to say. But if the president is saying, let's go after access recovery, it's important for the states. At the moment, we don't have any vehicle. The government don't have any vehicle to operate with people are using their private cars to go to work and things. So the government need those vehicles, they need everything, they need the money, they need to restitute the money to make sure that they carry on their daily expenditure, and recurrent is a problem too. Recurrent expenditure. We're not being able to pay civil servant. How can we pay the civil servant? How can we stop other people the student money so that we can pay civil servant on time.
Mhm.
So those are the things that we need to define.
All right, all right. One of the presidential nominee who was confirmed, Robert Jala, the revenue generating stream of the LRA, Robert Jala, he made a commitment to the Liberian people that in the course of 1 year's time, under his stewardship at the minister at the Liberia Revenue Authority, he is going to reach the target that how do you
Thomas
call
Lado.
Thomas Dolan said he was going to reach, but however, there were some other challenges that pulled him back, and he is going to reach. How do you look at his statement? His statement accompanied by some hand play modalities that he has on the paper.
Doba is my former teacher.
Mhm.
Doba Jana from Stella Marriage Polytechnic.
Mhm.
I trust his ability so much. I call him Skippy.
Mhm.
I explain him. We always call him Skippy. He come with a lot of innovation. He got new ideas. He visited the LRA. He saw some of the papers here, some of the issues, the daunting challenges that need to be addressed. So if you listen to him at the level of the Liberian Senate, he made a lot of recommendation and he introduced a lot of reform strategy. You know, the tax law of our country is a very aggressive law, and when implemented to the fullest, it gives opportunity for rise in revenue generation. So over the years, people at the level of revenue generation have downplayed some of the laws that come along with it because of the relationship with a taxpayer and all of that, giving taxpayer the leverage to free to generate, to pay tax or so. So all of the revenue generated in places that are involved, when that level of aggressiveness doing that, a period of time has exhibited over the years, that is reinstituted and introduced, I think there can be a serious increase in terms of revenue generation. I think it's in that line that Dr. Jala is thinking to be very aggressive in the approach to make sure that we make our target at a particular game at every given time. So he knows his strategy, what his strategies are, and I trust him. I know what he can do. You saw him at the level of the PPCC. I worked with him as a planning analyst at the Ministry of Planning and Economic Affairs. And when you saw him when he went to the University of Liberia, the kind of teams that he taught to institute, he had working one of the best civil servants I ever saw across the country. And I think he can make a difference, huge difference, given his experience.
So we are actually in conversation with Harrison Camus. You heard him. We beautifully put it most of the trending national issues. You heard him. We gratefully responded to most of those trending issues in our country, Liberia. So for those of you who are watching the conversation, you can just put in your comments. You can put in your questions regarding some of those issues you want him to clarify. You want him to clarify. So with that being said, let's just take a short break. When we come back, let's take a short musical break. When we come back, we will continue on the interview segment. Lump.
Friend, let me. If you not want betrayal, find a friend, let me. Find a friend, let me. Find a friend, let me. If you not want betrayal, find a friend, let me.
Bombe oh, find a friend, let me. Bombe jene oh, find a friend, let me.
Bombe,
find a friend, let me. Friend, let me.
Hey, see bestie, the bestie not sweet like my bestie. The bestie la bestie, find a friend let me.
I say, see bestie wanting to wealthy. Find a friend let me. I hear them say they want me go. I say
Some of them say they want me go.
I say
Some French la Some French la Some French la and sweet like my bestie. The bestie da la bestie. Find a friend like me.
I say, see bestie, wanting to weffy. Find a friend like me. Okoro, 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 okoro. They won't step on my blessing, but God get it breaking, yeah. Okoro. They won't call it my blessing, but God get it breaking, yeah.
Okoro. Friendship, see friendship. Come see Papa T friendship. And I want no back for friendship. And I want no wedding friendship. Wangolo, 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 wangolo. Wango for bestie, wango for daddy, wangolo.
I hear them say they want me go, I say I hear them say they want me go, I say
Some friends in a some friends in a some friends in a friends in a hey, see bestie, the bestie na friend by my bestie, the bestie la bestie, find a friend like me.
I say, see bestie, wanting to weffy, want him alone, find a friend like me.
DJ Young T.
You got money left, Johnny. You funny. It's
So easy.
connecting, yeah.
Hey, ha. Boy, I'm in I can't take bad hearing. DJ, give me now your cool hearing. Let me tell them how the thing goes. How the thing goes. Okay, okay. Shebi make a tamuwa. Say my pipina go join God. You want to bamba? You wanna G with the big boys? Now you the wrong, get the kitty, you the wrong, get enough to drink with a chop cup. Hey, can you see how the thing goes? How the thing goes? Oh, you tell them I hope and do.
Okay, folks, we are back again. So we were anticipating your call and your comment. So since there is no comment, we will just go forward to our guest, so he can provide his parting comment because we have some severe technical issues that we need to actually settle in the studio. So, Mr. Harrison, you now have the opportunity to give him the parting comment.
So, like we always tell people, these are normal. And when we ask the question about the 90 days, I think our President Waga is not just sitting watching the 90 days to pass or so. There are plans on the way to making that. Even after the 90 days, all of the workings of the 90 days will reflect the rest of the 6 days, 600, no, sorry, 6 years to come, and even years after. So we are working, things are being put in place. The nomination may be slow, but they are making sure to present the right people so that great things can happen and that Liberia can become better. We just encourage everybody to be patient because there are measures being put in place that will serve as historical measures for the development of Liberia and not just for a political gain. You know the age of President Wi-Fi. He's not one person who came in it for, just for a political gain. You see that for the overall because he has lived his life. He has nothing to prove to Liberian people. It's one of the reasons why he even signed up to the World Code because the World Bank Code, the resource for the World Bank Code will be for the overall benefit of Liberia and not just to satisfy individual people in government or individual people who have interest to loot the covers of our states. So thank you very much for inviting me. We'll always be here to provide a little understanding of how the government works, provide a little understanding of public administration. So thank you.
All right, so we just heard our guest, Harrison Jamu. He spoke very brilliantly to many of the questions that was asked to him, giving his own opinion relative to the many challenges in the body states of our country. So, my name is Ken Lee. We apologize that we have been able to continue the show due to technical issue. Our technician has advised us that we should cut off the show because so that we can be able to settle that particular issue. So thanks to all of you who have been following the debate. Thanks to all of you who have been following the conversations. We will be back here at the occasions commemorating the International Women Day. Today is actually the International Women Day. Happy International Women Day to all our mothers, our sisters, and all of those women who have managed to brave their storm, navigate their way in the space of leadership despite the therapy, the issues of marginalization, the issues of our ethnicity, and those people have been able to pave their way through every form. And so women are actually to be celebrated. I am of the opinion that we do not have a balanced war when women are not given the space to participate. So it's actually good for women to have for their voices to be heard for a very long time. Women have been occupying a position as a backbencher. So it's at the time that women need to actually come up and contribute towards the progress of the entire world, not only Liberia. They need to help to contribute significantly toward the format of our country. So on that note, Mr. Sal, I wish you all your day. Thanks to all of you who have been watching. See comedian Imas Dembele Buzz. So thank to all of you who keep sharing our live video. Follow Foca Online TV for more of these beautiful contents as always.